Birchall, your host. This episode is a special feature about the Minuteman Arc. And right now with me is Jean and Alex, who are in Concord at the office in Concord. And they're going to tell us about the Minuteman Arc, what it's all about, and the communities it serves. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Vivian. It's great to have you here.
And
good morning. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, well, I don't know that it will be a good morning, but for now it is the morning for those watching, and you might watch this in the evenings, but that's okay. So let's start with you, Jen. What can you tell us about the Minuteman Arc? We usually see signs around town, and not many people know what's happening and what it's all about.
Sure. So we've sometimes been thought of as one of the well-kept secrets in Concord and the larger community. Minuteman Arc has been around now for 63 years. We started as a group of families who had young children who had developmental disabilities, and at that time there weren't really community services. It was you could put your child in an institution, which they didn't want to do. And so they came together and said, let's start something for our children. So they started a nursery school for their young children. That actually originated in Bedford, and then a few years later moved to Concord. And as those children grew up and more families kind of came together, the needs changed. So Minuteman started employment services for adults and day services for adults who have more significant needs. They have medical needs and so forth, as well as developmental disabilities. And at this point, Minuteman is a full lifespan organization. We start at birth or shortly after birth with this wonderful early intervention program that goes up to age 3. And then at age 3, if children continue to need some services, we have our Extra Steps Pediatric Therapies, which is in Acton, right on Main Street. And we also have a transition program for students who are completing high school. We have employment for individuals, and we have a really high employment rate. We have our day program. We have 8 group homes scattered around the community: Concord, Littleton, Maynard, Stowe, Sudbury, and we've got about 50 people in adult family care. So we are a full lifespan organization.
Well, it is great to hear about all the towns that you serve, but I'll get back to you about that. But we talked about early intervention. Many schools are open now, and parents are excited about taking their kids back to school, but there is this group of students that we often don't think about in our community. Those are children with special needs. So, to you, Alex, what is this early childhood intervention or early intervention?
Thanks, Vivian. So, the early intervention program, as Jean mentioned, has been a part of Minuteman Arc for a long time. One date I've heard is 1977, so that's over 40 years ago. We primarily work in the 9 towns surrounding Concord and Acton, so a big chunk of Middlesex County. And we serve a large population of infants and toddlers. In fact, in any given year, we may have contact with over 500 different children. Some of them just receive a developmental evaluation, and if they're doing well, they may not qualify to participate in early intervention. But if we find a developmental delay at that point in time, or a qualifying diagnosis, then they're eligible to participate. And we are able to see them wherever they spend their time. And that includes at home. It includes at daycares and preschools. And of course, that's been a challenge during COVID because there was a period of time when we were not able to engage with families that way. And we were doing a lot of virtual visits and telehealth visits. But really, since the summer of 2020, and certainly since people got their vaccinations, we have really strived to get back to a face-to-face model of services. And at the moment, with a lot of safety precautions in place, we are seeing children at their homes, and we have been welcomed back into daycare centers. And we're doing the best we can to meet the needs of all the children, all the eligible children that come to us. And at the moment, we are working with almost 250 different families
Wow.
in 9 towns.
That's a lot of families. So, two questions. What is the criteria for eligibility? And why is it important to have early intervention for a child, for the development of a child?
So that's a great question. So early intervention is a statewide system. It's overseen by the Massachusetts Department of Public Health. And there are about 30 different agencies that have EI programs. There are 59 of those, and we cover every city and town around the state. But each program has its own area where it serves. So if you're going to have such a large system, there need to be some rules around eligibility. And so when children first come to us, and most of them are referred by a pediatrician or perhaps a hospital, we will provide a developmental evaluation. So a small team of 3 of our staff administer an assessment tool that's called the Battelle Developmental Inventory. And what we're able to do is give parents a kind of a snapshot of their child's development in different areas such as communication or motor skills, adaptive skills, those kinds of things. And the majority of kids who qualify are simply showing a delay in development. And all that really means is that the skills and abilities that they have at a certain point in time look like those of a younger child. So if a 1-year-old is not quite walking, but instead they are sitting and crawling, then we would say there's some degree of delay in their development. It doesn't mean that that's going to last. In fact, the purpose of early intervention is to help children overcome those delays. And really the way that we do that is by transmitting some knowledge and some skills and strategies to that child's parent or guardian or other caretakers, because we're only in the home for maybe a few hours a week, but that child has an opportunity to learn throughout the week if they're given the right opportunities. So it's really a family-centered model of service and a collaboration between our wonderful providers and those parents in terms of helping that child work on the goals that the family identifies.
So is it accurate that what I heard is that these children have to be referred by a doctor or someone?
Well, most of the referrals do come from those sources, but actually in Massachusetts, anyone can refer a child to early intervention. So we sometimes have parents call us who've had a conversation about their child's development with a daycare provider. And we've also had situations where families have been together at the playground, and one parent will say to the other, a few months ago, my child wasn't talking, And I called the early intervention program, and they've just done a fantastic job. So if you're concerned at all about your child, you should give them a call. And so we sometimes just have word of mouth becomes the way that children are referred. So you do not have to go through your doctor in order to give us a call.
And is there a particular age bracket for early intervention, and how late is it for a child to get into such a program?
We see children from birth until the day before their third birthday.
Okay.
So when you turn 3, you are no longer part of early intervention.
Is there a program for those kids?
Yes, we
Okay.
do not just cast you aside. For the last 6 months, approximately, that a child is in EI, we will be working on transition planning with that family. And about half of the children who are seen in early intervention will qualify for some kind of special education service at our local preschools. So they offer a full range of services as well. And some children will go on to an integrated preschool program in their town.
Mm-hmm.
Others may only need a little bit of ongoing therapy for speech or occupational therapy, something like
So
that.
you provide that?
We do not, but
Okay.
we make sure that they receive an evaluation and the right service plan
Okay.
with that public school. And we have very long-standing working relationships with those schools, so that when we make a referral, there is a procedure in place for the children to be seen, so that there's no gap between EI and special education at the third birthday. It's supposed to be a seamless transition.
Right. I'm a little curious. Is there any specific trend in terms of the early intervention needs across the towns?
That's a very good question. I think the biggest challenges by far in the last year and a half have been related to COVID and the fact that in March of 2020, when the public schools were closing down, we also had to close down temporarily.
Oh.
And we had to ask our providers to make a huge change in their practice, from visiting children in their homes to setting up Zoom meetings with parents and kids. And so to some extent, I would say now the challenge is that we have many kids who, due to COVID, due to schools closing, due to all the precautions that families have had to take, they've really had very little exposure to the outside world.
Oh my
Some
God.
of them have not played with other children their own age, except in very rare circumstances. And so now I think what we're going to see is a group of kids who are really very eager to get out and play and make friends and be in group situations that they have not been in before. And we want to try to help them do that so that they're really ready to go to preschool, whether they have special needs or not. That socialization piece is so important, and it's been such a challenge for families.
And just to talk about the overall Minuteman ARC, what are some of the needs for the organization?
So needs are many. Certainly this past year with COVID, the financial needs are really significant. We've had to buy many tens of thousands, probably $70,000 or $80,000 worth of PPE, so that our staff could be safe and the people we serve could be safe. The early intervention children, of course, don't need to wear that, but our older clients do. I think that we are extremely well supported by our communities, and the communities have been very generous with us. But because of needing to close our day services and for our homes, typically during the daytime, Monday through Friday, people go to a day program and they're served there. But when everything closed, those individuals who live in group homes had to have staff working with them all day. Well, that's not a cost that was covered. And so we've had many additional costs with reduced funding because of closing day programs and so forth. Now, our day programs have been open again for more than a year, but at a much smaller capacity because of social distancing and needs to keep everyone safe. And I think just like every employer throughout the state of Massachusetts and the country, we're struggling with finding staff. Our staff are wonderful, just phenomenal people who give from their hearts and give and give. But it's hard to attract new staff. And so that's an ongoing concern. We do a lot to show our staff how much we appreciate them and everything they do. And throughout COVID, we did all kinds of things. We did little contests. We gave people gift cards. At the end of the fiscal year, we were able to give every staff person a nice bonus just to say thank you for hanging in there with us.
Oh.
I want to just mention something that the sort of flip side to something that Alex mentioned about the children who go into special education. About half of the children are going into special education. But the flip side of that is half of those children don't need special education. So children who came into early intervention with a delay, sometimes a really significant delay, have been able to catch up.
Oh, that's nice.
And so that's changed that child's life
Yes.
forever. It's changed their family's life. It has saved the school systems over the course of years, literally millions of dollars that do not need to be spent on special education for that 50% of the children who are caught up and just like their peers.
I'm very grateful that you guys are here to help families who have even more needs for their children. This is a big deal for parents, and I hope the community can understand the impact of this service to families, like you rightly pointed out. So with that, I wanted to ask if there is anything specific you would like to each of you tell our viewers about Minuteman ARC and about early intervention.
I would love to mention our Minuteman March, which is coming up on September 25th. This is our one big fundraiser of the year, and it is the most fun fundraiser ever. It's a walk. Typically we do it at Emerson Field in Concord. This year the field is being renovated, so we will be at the Alcott School, which is only one block. And it's a walk. People go on the walk. Everyone has a brightly colored tie-dye shirt, and there's food and music and games for the children and raffles and prizes and so forth. It's just a big party. Everyone has a great time while raising some really needed funds for Minuteman ARC. And I would encourage anyone listening or watching to consider coming on out to the march. It's all outdoors, and so we feel like that keeps it COVID safe. And masks, at this point, we don't know if we'll be saying, yeah, we really think everybody should wear a mask, or it can be your choice. But it should be a tremendous event with a lot of fun. And if people can't actually come to the march, people can fundraise, they can donate. You can donate on our website, minutemanarc.org, and there's a little button that says donate. So that would be my one plea to the community.
And I would just say we have a special relationship with the town of Acton, although we are, as we've mentioned, are Early Intervention Center is at 1269 Main Street. And I say special simply because Acton always has the largest number of participating families in early intervention
That's interesting.
out of our 9 towns. We also have a great relationship with the Acton Public Schools and with the amazing staff at the integrated preschool in Acton. So just know we are here for those families. We are in the Acton community every day of the week, visiting homes and daycare programs, and we receive wonderful support from the town. So it's really a privilege for us to work with all of you. And if you have any concerns about your child's development, please give us a call. You should also be aware that every insurance plan in Massachusetts covers early intervention, as does Mass Health. And in fact, there's no out-of-pocket cost at all to parents for early intervention services in Massachusetts. So there should be no financial consideration in terms of giving us a call. And we're here to help however we can.
What's the best way to contact you if people want to contact you?
Well, Jean mentioned the website,
Okay.
MinutemanArc,
Okay.
ARC.org. The early intervention program has a telephone, and a live person answers that. So that's 978-287-7950. But if you go to our website, you can fill out a very quick referral questionnaire and submit that, and we'll call you back when we get the message.
Well, and again, thank you so much for allowing us into your space, for showing us around the room where the magic happens, where you provide service to our children who need it the most. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. And
Thank you.
Thanks, Vivian.
and to our viewers, thank you for watching, and I hope you can join the party. I mean, there is nothing better than tie and dye shirts, food, music, and open space. So let's enjoy our beautiful open space in our community and support the Minuteman Arc this month.
Hi, I'm Kylie. I'm the office manager here at Extra Steps Pediatric Therapies in Acton. We're located on 222 Main Street, and I'm going to give you a tour. Just follow me this way. So we have various treatment rooms in our clinic here. This is our speech treatment room. In no way does a certain provider have to treat in a certain room. They can treat wherever they would like. We just kind of group all of our supplies by discipline, which is why we have the doors labeled. So this is the speech room. A variety of our speech and language therapy tools are in this closet. One of the other girls that works with me at the desk, she made all of these visuals, which is great. It took her months to make, and the kids love them. They really like all these different flip cards. And here is our physical therapy room. It's a little small, so we oftentimes will use the therapeutic gym, which I'll show you last. But we have a mirror here and a ballet bar to be able to see what the body looks like, have more of a visual cue. We have the treatment table here, and more PT supplies are in these drawers. Games, tennis balls, what have you. And then in here is our playroom. We do have some therapists that treat in here. Some will pull things out into a different treatment room, depending on what the need is, or if there's too many items in here, it can become distracting. But this is where all of our dramatic play items are, as well as some books. And then this is our OT room. This is used a lot in tandem with our therapeutic gym. So the girl that I also work with, Megan, she made this I Spy board, so it's really good for visual perception, fine motor skills, visual identification. I'm not an occupational therapist, but I have a little bit of working knowledge. I'm actually a speech language pathology assistant. So we use this room, we'll use this for social skills group. Anyone can use it for treatment. And then we have, this is called the social skills room or the rainbow room, depending on how you want to look at it. I held social skills group in here with my co-facilitators, Maria and Megan. We had it outside for the first few weeks, and then we had it in the room because we wanted to expand across all environments here in the clinic. So we have a lot of social skills games and books over here. We have these wooden blocks that are a big hit in treatment. And at times, if the rainbow rug is too distracting, we'll roll it up and put it in a different room. Sometimes the colors can be visually overstimulating, but the kids love it, so we keep it there. And then we have our sensory wall that Megan also made. It's really, really cool, actually. I do sanitize it in between every client. But every single board has a different texture on it, and the kids really like it. It's a nice transition into the clinic, too. Heavy interest in this spot. And then we have our river room, which has our hammock, and this is used for quiet time or any kind of sensory need or input. We allow the kids to climb up on the hammocks too. There's this mattress here for cushion in case of a fall or anything of that nature. And then this is a quiet room as well. We mostly use it for storage. We put a lot of our bigger bean bags or any of our sensory cushions in here, and we'll bring them in and out into this gym here. This is our conference room. Some people use it for treatment because it's our only treatment room with a window, and it's good for ventilation. And it's a nice larger space too. We'll have team meetings in there as well. And then we do have our kitchen. It's dual purpose, so we use this kitchen for feeding group or feeding therapy, and it's also free for the therapists to store any food for themselves personally as well as me. We have a really nice space here. We have a working oven, we have a fridge, we can work on activities of daily living. Groups in here are a lot of fun. We haven't gotten the opportunity to do feeding groups because of COVID, but we hope once COVID kind of dies down eventually, we'll start doing that again. And then this is pretty much the star room. Here is the therapeutic gym. As you can see, there's the zip line here, which is a big hit, as well as the hooks. I don't have swings hanging up right now, but we have 3 different hooks and we can have different swings. We also have an outdoor space where we can hang the swings as well. This is another one of those sensory cushions that I was telling you about. It happens to be out. It was used in treatment on Saturday. And that would be stored in the quiet room. And then in our closet, which I'm not going to show you, has a lot of therapeutic equipment as well. And then the climbing wall too. Yes, we have this climbing wall. Actually, it's funny. Some therapists will put toy animals on all of the rocks to make it more of like a visual activity, because kids love the toy animals. So they'll stack them and they'll have to climb and get one. It's really cool. And we have all these crash pads here, so you can let go of the zip line when you're on it. And then this is our sensory room, which has a lot of our sensory materials in it as well. And there are some baby dolls drawing, but we have all of our Play-Doh, things to make slime, paint, anything messy, it's in here. And we try to contain it in here, but therapists can bring any material to any room, and that's totally fine. But that's pretty much the entire clinic. We have, like I said, the outdoor space, which I can show you. It's not fully developed yet. We're in the process of buying more playground equipment, which would be great. But yes, this is our clinic. And I hope you enjoyed the tour.
Okay, thanks Kylie for giving us a great tour of the Extra Steps Pediatric Therapy Building. I wanted to let people know also we have another program that is for children of all abilities, It is Timber Nook. It's an outdoor recreational program. It's experiential for children from starting at 15 months with a caregiver, but it's very child-centered. The kids are out in the woods. It's held in the Connet Woods in Carlisle. We've partnered with the Town of Carlisle for that. And you can see behind me here some photos of the children. The idea is to get children outdoors, away from screens, experiencing nature, climbing, building strength and muscle capacity, helping with their vestibular development about where your body is in space, and learning social skills to work with one another. So children sometimes will have a project, but it's very child-centered and child-led. And it's been an extremely popular program. This summer we had 5 sessions. We had over 125 children who enjoyed Timber Nook. We've got sessions all year long because Timber Nook is really outdoors all year. And in the winter you put on your coat and your boots and your hat and your mittens, but you're outdoors. And in the rainy weather, you wear your rain boots and your raincoat, and again, go out and experience. And maybe you get a little muddy, but the children have a great time, and it's a wonderful learning environment for them.
So previously we were at 1269 in Concord, and now this has been a tour of the 222 Main Street Extra Steps location here in Acton, and it's such a great service to our community, and I hope whoever is watching this can support the Minuteman Arc. Thank you again, Jean. Thank you, Kylie, and to our viewers, thank you for watching. Till next time.